The sun began to finish its slow descent to the horizon as Dante Jr. and Lei Song made their brief journey from the polar bear dog pens on the eastern part of the estate to the western courtyard. Lights shone in the distance, and they soon heard the sound of the fire strings and the water harp being tuned to satisfaction by the players. The duo rounded the corner of the massive house just as the side doors of the estate opened up before Varric and Julie walked out hand in hand. The onlookers of family and the few friends invited started clapping for the venerated couple. Others raised their glass and shouted, "Happy 50th anniversary!" Little Nene tried to join in. "Happy 50th anniversary!" The first long note of Julie's favorite song started to slowly resonate through the fire strings as the player heated one, then two of the platinum strings in his fiery grip, while slowly pulling on the strings as needed to change notes and pitch. As the slow progression of the fire strings began to build in melodic intensity, the honored couple made their way to the dance floor. Once in the center, the couple exchanged a few private whispers and then kissed with a restrained intensity suitable for an audience. The elderly lovebirds pulled back to stare into each other's eyes. Gan spread his incorporeal essence through the venerated couple and watched with their mind's eye. He saw the young, vibrant couple as they were 50 years ago on their wedding day. Gan smiled, knowing that was the way the pair still saw each other, even now. Then, standing over a yin-yang emblem painted on the floor, the aged admirers locked hands and began to slowly dance. Others soon joined in, some with tears in their eyes. Dante Jr., too young to be moved by such things, was surprised to look up and see tears threaten Lei Song's eyes as well. "Oh, not you too. Sorry, I was just thinking of..." Lei Song looked down as he began to trail off. Junior replied with a tinge of guilt in his voice, "Oh, sorry, I was just teasing." "Ah, no worries. Ancient history," he replied while looking up, recovering from his unwanted reverie just as Dr. Solaris approached the pair. "Glad you two could make it," she greeted them both while drawing closer to Lei Song. Dante forced a quick smile while Lei Song just nodded. Solaris brushed some loose strands of hair away from her blushed cheeks. "Would you care to dance? I love this song." Dante's normally charismatic companion started to stammer in response. "Well, I'm not sure. He'd love to," Junior finished for him, giving him a light nudge into Solaris's waiting hands, and she quickly pulled the reluctant man away to the dance floor. As Lei Song was pulled past his son, the young man called out, "Have fun, Dad!" Lu Chan looked around for a moment until his gaze rested on Kauna. He proceeded to fix his hair and tie as he anxiously made his way towards her. As he got closer to her, he could see that she was smiling from ear to ear. "Looks like you're in a good mood," he said with a somewhat nervous smile. "You have no idea." Kauna uncharacteristically grabbed the stunned young man and embraced him tightly. Lu Chan felt his stomach rise up and his heart sink down. His knees began to buckle and his feet left the ground. Kauna released him, and Lu Chan dropped to the ground in search of his lost feet. A waiter walked by with a tray of champagne, and Kauna grabbed 2 glasses. Don't be weird, Lu Chan. Here, have a drink, I feel like celebrating." The young man stood up and stared at her with a glazed look in his eyes as he waited for the blood to drain from his face and bring life back to the rest of his body. In the meantime, Kauna grabbed his hand, put a glass in it, and guided it to hers for a proper toast. What are we celebrating?" "Progress," she exclaimed before quickly finishing her drink and tilting up Lu Chan's so he did the same. After putting both glasses on a nearby table, she guided him to the dance floor. Kauna rested her head on his shoulder as they began to dance. Lu Chan's face melted into one of pure contentment. just as the notes from the water harp and the omni winds reached their most melodic highs. As for the drums, they were drowned out by the beating of Lu Chan's own heart. Shortly into the dance, however, he couldn't help but wince after she stepped on his foot for the third time. "I'm sorry. I hate when this happens." She started to pull away, but Lu Chan gently pulled her towards him and back onto his feet. "It's okay, I don't mind," he reassured her in a soft tone. "In fact, I kind of think it's one of your most endearing qualities." "Easy for you to say. You have no idea how important parietal function is," Kana replied, with a hint of frustration in her voice. "Like, remember the time I was suspended from school for slapping a teacher? Well, that was because of an ill-timed hiccup in my brain's ability to properly process sensations." Lu Chan couldn't help but laugh as he finished her story. "Yeah, I remember. Mr. Wu tapped you on the shoulder and you started screaming, 'He touched my butt!'" Kauna smiled, but replied in an apologetic tone, "I swear that's what it felt like to my screwy brain, and my endearing qualities don't stop there. There's the fact that I can't get a driver's license because I might spontaneously lose my understanding of right from left. And let's see, there's my loss of body orientation. Your feet can tell you about that. And I can't begin to describe how much fun homework and class speeches were when my ability to read comes and goes on a whim. Not to mention what it does to my bending. Believe me, it's no picnic. I'm sorry, it's just, other than those few flaws, you're just so perfect." Kauna chuckled. "Ha! Tell that to my first 3 waterbending instructors. Besides, you say that like it's a bad thing or something. I've worked hard to thrive in spite of my injury. I graduated a solstice early from the Mechanist School of Science, and I practically run Varick Pharmaceuticals' R&D department." Lu Chan ignored the fact that it was Dr. Kiri who ran the department and gulped before replying. "I know, it's just, I'm afraid if you become too perfect, you might lose sight of the beauty of imperfection." He paused and stared longingly into her eyes, with a look that said, "Baby, you're my forever girl." He leaned in with puckered lips, but Kauna pulled away. "I told you not to be weird. I'm gonna go get another drink." Lu Chan stood on the dance floor, silently cursing himself until getting bumped by Varick. "Hey, move it or lose it, lover boy. This floor is for dancing." As Lu Chan walked away with his head down, Zhu Li playfully berated her husband. "Oh, be nice. Besides, having a crush on Kana can't be easy. I'm sure he gets enough grief." "Now who needs to be nice? I think Kana has moxie," Varick stated in defense of his granddaughter. "I know I heard you 3 talking as we were coming to get you." "Oh." He paused to look at her, raising his left eyebrow to heights only Varick could take it, before probing further. "And you disagree?" "No, you're probably right. If Varys thinks people, especially her investors, will be impressed with her desire to help the Avatar." Zhu Li paused, glancing at Varys, who was still in a noticeably bad mood, before she continued in a bitter tone. "She is setting herself up for disappointment." Varick started to talk, but now it was his turn to be humbled into silence as Zhu Li finished her point. "That doesn't mean I have to accept it when you start making false claims about what your legacy is, mister," she said with a voice that meant business. Varick gave his wife another quizzical look. Zhu Li's face softened as she leaned up and kissed her husband. "It's not Varick Industries," she said with a hushed whisper and a coy smile. Varick reflected on his wife's words until he heard Kiri, Umi, and Bolin laughing. He looked over to see all his kids and grandchildren gathered around, all having a great time. He turned back to his wife to be greeted by a look he had become all too familiar with. It was the look that said, I know. I'm the world's dumbest genius," he admitted with a smile. "As long as you know that," Zhu Li said, before leaning up to kiss his cheek and lovingly resting her head on his chest as the pair continued their slow dance. Bolin and his younger sisters all stood around a table, laughing and reminiscing. "Oh my goodness, could you believe Mum and Dad when they got on the dance floor?" exclaimed Mei Li. Kiri laughed before responding, "I know. I thought I was going to have to hose them down." Bolin pointed toward their father, receiving a verbal lashing from their mom. Oh, look at them now." Mei Li made a gagging gesture. "You gross. I don't even want to look." "No, stupid, he means they're fighting again," Umi corrected. Mei Li turned to look just as Julie softened her expression and kissed Varric. "Oh, great. And now they're kissing again. Totally gross." They all shared a laugh. However, their collective good mood was soon set at odds by the approach of their eldest sibling. As Varys reached the table, she slammed her empty glass next to Mei Li's, bending the champagne out of the latter and into the former. "Hey, I wasn't drinking that or anything," Mei Li protested. Varys slammed back the contents of the glass and signaled the waiter. "Relax, sis. I just think you're too young to be drinking is all," Mei Li retorted with sarcastic inflection. "I'm 30, Mum." "That's going by age, but in terms of responsibility, you're closer to a 4-year-old. No, I'm sorry, 4 3/4. Varys finished in her most patronizing baby voice. Mei Li took the drink out of Umi's hand and tried to splash its contents in Varys's face. However, she was able to stop the wet assault with a simple wave of her hand, causing the liquid to rest calmly in her glass, just as the waiter made his way over. "Can I help you, miss?" "No, I'm good now," Varys said, while shooting Mei Li a smug look. "I'll take one. Thanks," Mei Li replied. Varys continued to chastise her sister. "Oh my God, she said thanks." Mei Li turned red. "What the Vatu is your problem?" The waiter handed her the drink and nervously shuffled away. "Seriously, Varys, either tell us what your problem is or take your wet blanket bending somewhere else," Umi stated bluntly. Varys choked on a quiet laugh while wiping a small tear from her eye. "You're right, Umi, and I'm sorry, Mei Li," she added sincerely. Mei Li handed Umi the glass of champagne she just received to make up for the glass she had taken earlier. "It's fine. I'm just going to get a Fireflake martini or something," she said before walking away, clearly a little hurt by her eldest sister's harsh character assassination. "I just saw you less than an hour ago and you were fine. What happened in there?" Bolin asked, pointing to their dad's house. "Oh, nothing. Just another reminder of why my company is called Varric Pharmaceuticals," she stated, with emphasis on Varric. "Welcome to the club, although I must say Bolin Industries has a nice ring to it." "Oh, it does," Kiri interjected with a somewhat nervous smile while glancing at Varys in an attempt to gauge her mood. Kiri got hopeful when Varys seemed to relax a little, but her older sister soon stiffened again as someone approached from the dance floor. "Why the long faces? It's a beautiful night and a great party. It's time to celebrate," Kana stated enthusiastically before grabbing a glass of champagne. However, it was immediately intercepted by her mother. Korra tried to bend the liquid into another cup, but overestimated her skills. After losing her bending grip, the intoxicating liquid fell to the ground, only to be caught by Varys, who lifted it back into her own glass. "Nice try." "Oh, come on. I'll be 20 in a few months," Kana protested while reaching for an apple, before adding in an arrogant tone, "You're just mad because Gramps sided with me." She finished with a loud bite of her apple. Kiri and Bolin exchanged uneasy glances as the two continued on in increasingly aggressive tones. "You're getting ahead of yourself, as usual," Varys casually corrected, with an air of indifference. "Oh, what? Your meeting?" Korra asked with an overly exaggerated eye roll. "Ha! Gramps was right about that too. They will applaud your benevolence while hiding their wallets." Varys started to retort, but the sting of truth stilled her tongue. Kiri calmly intervened. "Come on, you two. Save the shop talk until we get back north. Now is the time to celebrate." "Indeed," agreed Bolin. "I'll drink to that," declared Umi while holding up her glass. The siblings toasted while Kauna just shrugged and raised her apple up to the hoisted glasses. Umi gave her sister a pleading look, and Varys acquiesced with a nod. Umi handed Kauna a glass of champagne for a proper toast. Laughter and drinking ensued.